In Module A2, Objective 2, we're going to discuss the regulation of the cell life cycle. Mitotic rate and energy use. When we consider the rate of cell division, we have some cells that divide very slowly. These cells tend to have a much longer cell life. If you consider muscle cells or neurons, these cells rarely divide. And you can contrast that to cells that divide very rapidly if you consider the skin cells or digestive tract cells. These cells live days or hours, and they have to be replenished very regularly. Consider your skin and the trauma you put your skin through. Every day we scrape, cut, burn our skin, and those cells have to be replaced. So these cells tend to have a very high mitotic rate, a very fast mitotic rate, because they have to. Going back to the slower mitotic cells, the muscle cells and the neurons, again, these cells, very slow. It takes a long time for them to divide and replicate. One good example would be the cardiocytes. Cardiocytes are basically the cells that make the heart in terms of muscle. And if someone were to suffer a heart attack and they were to kill a portion of the heart, of those cardiocytes, you know, those cells are not going to replace themselves. A study came out recently suggesting it takes years for cardiocytes to undergo mitotic division. So we do have a very broad range of mitotic rates within the body. And while we're not going to ask you to memorize which cell types are fast mitotic dividers versus those that are slow, you should have a good feel. Muscle cells, the nervous system, these rarely divide compared to that of the skin and digestive tract. When a cell divides, a tremendous amount of energy is required. If you think when one cell splits into two cells, you need to replace all of the cellular organelles. You need to make copies of all of the genetic material for the two daughter cells. So a tremendous amount of energy is required for that type of replacement. When you consider the skin and the digestive tract and some of these very short-lived cells, they are replenished by stem cells. And to give you an idea of how a stem cell works, if you have a stem cell and it divides, and we refer to those cells as daughter cells, one of these daughter cells is going to go out and produce skin. We'll just use skin as an example. The other daughter cell is going to replace the parental stem cell. That way you always have stem cells on hand in case damage occurs. Normally in the body, cell division is going to balance cell loss. But there are factors that can increase cell division or slow it down. I will show you a table with a list of factors. The two groups of factors that I'll discuss now, we do have some internal factors. These are inside the cell, and they're called M-phase promoting factors, MPFs rather. And these cells promote mitosis. They promote cellular division. Extracellular chemical factors such as growth factors, again, are going to increase cell division. There are some factors that also decrease cell division. There are a number of repressor genes. These are faulty genes that can ultimately give rise to certain cancers. And if you consider another process that decreases cell division, we have the telomeres. And we're not going to discuss telomeres in any fashion, but if you consider a chromosome, at the very ends of those chromosomes, we find are telomeres. And every time a cell divides, a cell loses some of that content, some of those telomeres, to where over time, over many cell divisions, you can imagine that with each cell division, a little bit of that telomere getting degraded, a little bit of that telomere being basically lost. Eventually, you're going to lose the telomeres altogether. And again, this can also lead to a cancerous state. Here is that table listing some of the factors. And again, aside from the MPF here and a whole class of basically growth factors, I'm really not going to ask you to look at these. We will discuss prolactin and erythropoietin and thymosins when we look at the endocrine system in AMP2. But for now, just understand that there are factors that help, that can either increase the rate of cellular division or decrease the rate of cellular division.